Number 10. Black Friday Trample. While his friends called him Jimbo or J Did Red, the name Jidmati Damour made headlines in 2008 when the Wal-Mart temporary worker was trampled in a stampede at the store's Long Island location. Damour, 34, had just gotten his job through Labor Now, a temp agency. On the morning of Black Friday, Damour was trying to hold back a wave of customers from rushing in through the sliding glass doors. The doors somehow shattered under the weight of the crowd before the store's scheduled 5 o'clock in the morning opening. Damour was thrown to the ground as shoppers flooded into the store and caused the stampede. By the time people noticed the man lying on the ground, Jidmati was already dead. Nassau County Police Department stated it would be unlikely for anyone to get charged for the incident. A spokesperson for the police department said that they were reviewing surveillance footage, witness reports, and gathering any information they could find, but no arrests have been made. Friends and family members have been trying to process the horrible ordeal. The stampede that resulted in Damour's death was caused by a discount price on TVs and entertainment centers. On the Sunday after the incident, the store was closed for a few hours to allow Damour's co-workers to pay their respects to the deceased. Number 9. Mother Saves Son. A haunting 30-second clip has been shared online that reveals the final moments of Jiang Liguan's life. The 31-year-old woman can be seen holding her son's hand as they reach the top of the escalator where the two mall employees wait for them. The video starts off innocently with Liguan holding her son's hand and holding him up for the mall employees. But as she's doing that, the escalator panel beneath her falls and Liguan is left struggling to hold on. After the child makes it to safety, the employees try their best to pull up Liguan, but unfortunately, Liguan falls inside the escalator. This is where the clip stops. It took security and emergency teams 4 hours to cut through the escalator panel and retrieve the woman's dead body. The incident took place at the upscale AZG Mall in central China. Officials in Jingzhou, Hubei, claim that no one was to blame for the accident that took place on July of 2015. They closed the case saying it was simply human error. Outraged, the victim's friends and family took to social media to voice their anger at the incident. Quote, "The shopping mall is still open and the killer escalators are still running," said a friend of the family. "Shoppers have no idea about the tragedy upstairs and no one knows if such disasters will strike again." End quote. Sadly, this wasn't the first event of its kind in China. Earlier that same year, a young boy was caught in a malfunctioning escalator and sustained a fractured left arm. Several other reports surfaced of minor to major injuries sustained because of faulty escalators and improper maintenance. Perhaps Final Destination wasn't too far off with their infamous escalator scene. Number 8. Mummified Corpse. On September 5th of 2018, a grand jury indicted Emmett Davis on 6 charges: malice murder, felony murder, aggravated battery, aggravated assault, theft by taking, and theft by deception. Davis had originally been booked for the suspected murder of his girlfriend, 19-year-old Georgia State University student Silling Mann. A maintenance worker found Mann's mummified body at the abandoned sandwich shop in December 2017. The police were immediately called to the scene. Based on the body's decomposition, it was determined that it had been there for a while. It took law enforcement several days before they could identify who it was. The body was indeed Silling Mann's. Mann had been reported missing in October that year by his uncle, whose Lawrenceville home she resided in. Friends reported they believed she was staying at hotels with her boyfriend Davis after being reported missing. Their relationship was turbulent, to say the least. Davis had been abusive towards her multiple times, but Mann refused to leave him. In the days before her death, Davis and Mann had even gotten matching face tattoos. She died from asphyxiation. Several of her ribs had been broken, as well as her ring finger. Mann had reportedly began dating Davis earlier that same year, and it was well known her family disapproved. They reported her missing once before, and Mann was returned 10 days later. This time, however, the family believed Mann would return whenever she wanted to. It's a sad situation, but it's even more sad that she was found abandoned in a mall sandwich shop of all places. Do you think Davis did it? Tell us your theories in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Number 7. Pepper spraying. No charge has been filed against the woman that turned herself in after outrage over a pepper spraying incident in November of 2011. The 32-year-old unidentified woman had reportedly pepper sprayed a crowd. She was in line waiting to buy a discount Xbox during the annual Black Friday sale. She sprayed the irritant at the crowd, claiming self-defense. After turning herself in later that Friday night, the unidentified bargain hunter was released. But according to a police report, she's facing battery charges. The Walmart shopper made worldwide news when she attacked the line of people on Thursday night, causing minor injuries to 20 shoppers. The woman was caught in a brawl with the crowd after they alleged she cut in line to get one of the last Xboxes in stock. The device was on sale and the crowd had been waiting several hours, so tensions were high. The woman claimed the crowd became hostile and it was necessary for her to pepper spray them to get away from her. None of the victims were transported to a hospital. They received immediate care on scene. This incident took place at a Los Angeles Walmart in 2011, and this was just one of many Black Friday sales incidents that took place that year. Other incidents included stampedes, stabbings, and assaults. Number 6. Carjacking. Dustin Friedland and his wife Jamie Friedland were returning to their Range Rover at the mall at Short Hills parking garage around 9 p.m. on December 15, 2013, when they were confronted by two men. Dustin was shot in the head in a fight with the men and was struggling for his life when emergency services were called to the scene. The two men drove off in the Range Rover and were joined shortly afterwards by their accomplices in a nearby SUV. Jamie made several frantic calls to 911 begging for an estimate on their arrival. However, when paramedics arrived, the ambulance couldn't fit inside the parking lot and a stretcher had to be wheeled down for Dustin. Dustin eventually died due to his injuries at Morristown Memorial Hospital later that day. Within a week after the shooting, officers captured all four men in a series of coordinated arrests. Ford and Roberts were apprehended in Newark, while Thompson was arrested at home in Irvington. An FBI task force had tracked Thompson to Pennsylvania and captured him at a hotel in Easton. In September 2014, an Essex County grand jury indicted the four on 6 criminal counts, including murder, felony murder, carjacking, and conspiracy charges. All have pleaded not guilty to the charges. Hopefully, justice will be served. Number 5. Protesters march inside mall. Approximately 16 protesters marched inside of St. Louis Galleria Mall in November of 2019, chanting social justice slogans. The protesters had rallied against an unjust police shooting that occurred earlier that year. The victim, Terry Tillman, was a 23-year-old man who had been fatally shot back in August 2019. Officials claimed a police officer saw Tillman carrying a gun and chased him out of the mall. There have been several sides to this debate. Was Terry Tillman's shooting lawful? One side argued that Tillman should not have been carrying a gun in the first place. However, the opposing side claimed Tillman was exercising his right as an American citizen. The St. Louis protesters argued the mall's gun laws were not adequately stated. Looting was also reported at the mall as protesters marched inside, but no affirmative report could be established on whether the protesters were a part of the looting or not. Quote, "It's our duty to fight for our freedom," some yelled. "It's our duty to win." No arrests have been made in either cases. Number 4. Toys for Tots. A U.S. Marine reservist, Philip Duggan, was stabbed while trying to apprehend a thief on November 29, 2018. The management at Augusta, Georgia's Best Buy alerted security when a man was seen trying to sneak a laptop underneath his jacket during the annual Black Friday sale. The man was caught in the act by the store's surveillance cameras. He became enraged when security tried to apprehend him. In all of the commotion, the man pushed back at security and even pulled out a knife. Right outside the store, 4 U.S. Marine reservists, including the victim, were collecting toys for the Toys for Tots charity program to help children in need. The 4 men apprehended the thief, but he stabbed Duggan in the back during the struggle. The man was escorted away by law enforcement and paramedics tended to Duggan. Tracy Attaway, 39, was charged with aggravated assault, theft, and possession of a knife. Luckily, Duggan got away with nothing more than a scar and a pretty decent story to tell. Number 3. No arrests made in mall shooting. A dispute between 2 rival groups went down at the South Point Mall, where a total of 6 people were injured. The incident took place on Black Friday, 2021. Authorities reported 3 people were victims of the shooting, but another 3 were wounded during the stampede while the crowd was evacuating. The incident took place in Durham, North Carolina, and authorities have yet to make any arrests in the case. The victims, including a 10-year-old boy, sustained non-life-threatening injuries and were treated at a Durham hospital. Authorities released a statement shortly after the incident saying that the mall would be closed the next day while they investigate the case. All that they've confirmed so far is that the incident seems to be gang-related. More investigation and time will tell the cause. Number 2. Princess Parking. On the 23rd of November 2012, a man and woman were rushed to the hospital by emergency services after they were shot in a Walmart parking lot. The incident occurred during the annual Black Friday sale in Tallahassee, Florida. Why, you ask? The couple were in a dispute with the shooter over a simple parking space. An eyewitness reported that a commotion ensued after gunshots were heard. The witness was at the store's customer service department, and the shooting went down in the parking lot. The two victims, a man and a woman, claimed the shooter had a disagreement with them over a parking spot he believed was his. After a little tussling back and forth, the shooter became irate and pulled out a gun. He then shot at the couple at close range, but luckily missed. He also managed to get into his car and exit the scene before authorities arrived. By the time emergency services responded, the dark green Toyota Camry in connection with the shooting had vanished. The victims were at the garden center and transported to the hospital, where it was determined their injuries were non-life-threatening. Number 1. Jealous much? Around midnight on November 23, 2018, police were called to a mall in Memphis, Tennessee, where one man was shot and 2 were connected with the shooting. The incident occurred after the victim was allegedly caught glaring at a woman in the mall. According to the victim, he only briefly looked at the woman but was being threatened by her boyfriend after leaving the building. The victim and his cousin were caught in a confrontation with the shooter. Punches were thrown and the victim was knocked to the ground. Eyewitnesses reported that as soon as he tried to stand back up, the man shot at him. The other shooter, Matthew Morgan, reportedly saw the incident unfold and began shooting in response. It's unclear whether he shot at the victim, the shooter, or in midair. Who knows? Morgan and the shooter were both arrested for possession of a deadly weapon. The shooter was also indicted for aggravated assault and battery. The victim was treated by emergency aid, called to the scene, and made a full recovery at the hospital. Thanks for watching. From shootings to lootings, which incident shocked you the most? Be sure to comment down below and tell us what you'd like us to cover next. And as always, like and subscribe for more content. See you next time on the Bad Badger.